So last month I walked 100,000 steps in 24 hours, and here are my main learnings and tips in case you ever decide that you want to conquer this challenge as well. The idea of doing this was in my mind for a while, but as with every challenge, I needed to get mentally prepared. It wasn't until one Monday evening when I thought, okay, it is time. This week, I will walk 100,000 steps in one day. I planned my distance, chose my outfit, packed my backpack with all the necessities, and was ready to go. On the following Thursday, I woke up at 3 a.m. in the morning, and at 4 a.m. I started my walk. I experienced everything from joy, excitement, and happiness to exhaustion, discomfort, and pain. Together, it took me 20 hours. I walked 74 kilometers and burned approximately 3,000 calories. While at moments I wasn't sure if I would make it, I actually did. I was so proud of myself at the finish line, and I'm still extremely proud of myself. In case you haven't seen the video, I'll link it down below, but now let's get into this video. So it's divided in two parts. We'll start with general tips and things I want to give you, and we'll finish off with my deepest revelations and philosophical thoughts, because if you know me, you know that I need to add depth to everything I do. Okay, let's get into it. So, thing number one is calories and hydration. I think I could have consumed a bit more calories than I did. I sort of calculated everything. Like, I had a good breakfast, you know, I had my protein bars that I packed with me, but I think what I needed to do is keep these little protein bars and little snacks, really easily digestible foods with me at the start of the challenge, because I woke up at around 40K steps because I had a big energy crash, and that's when I went into the gas station and had some bread and some electrolytes. But I could have easily skipped that if I would have just kept on eating. You can't really rely on what is natural, what does my body crave in a situation when you're not doing something natural. And I learned this a long time ago when I was training for the marathon, and I was talking to someone who had ran a marathon. And I told her, oh, I want to do everything naturally. Like, she was telling me about all these supplements I could take. And I said, I want to do everything naturally. And she said, you can't do things naturally if you're participating in a run that is not natural. Like, it's not natural for humans to run 40 kilometers. And it's the same with this distance. You have to keep this in mind. You can't always trust your gut. In this case, physically, like, you think, oh, I'm not hungry, I don't need to eat. If you're about to walk 74 kilometers, 100,000 steps, you need to think about these calories all the time. That's my number one tip, how important it is to drink all the time and consume calories all the time. Number two is importance of shoes. I never told you guys in the video. I think I mentioned a couple of times that I can feel my blisters, but I never told you how bad it actually was. I've never had a blister this big. This big. I'm not over exaggerating. I had blisters all over my feet. And this is when I understood that actually the shoes are not good. I thought they were good, but I recently talked to someone, and we were talking about like shoes and all of that. And they mentioned how you can sometimes only tell if the shoes are actually meant for like these long runs or long walks after you walk a really long time. And this is where I learned that they are actually not for my feet. So if you are planning to go on a long walk, make sure that the shoes are made for that. And here's the funny part. Before I bought these, because these are like Nike training shoes, they cost about 160 euros, like that's a lot for shoes. And before that, I'm not even kidding, I had these sports shoes from Primark. They cost, I think, $9, and they were the most comfy shoes ever, and my feet felt great. So that's a learning lesson for me and for you, to not always rely on price. You know, our physique or our strength is so often based on our feet and our back, like how well we can hold ourselves together. And if you have bad shoes, that can really mess up your feet. That can even mess up your posture. So I really wore these shoes thinking that they're the comfiest shoes I have have, but I guess not, because my feet felt really bad. And I still have, you know, like little places on my feet that are still healing. And this is like 3 weeks after the walk. So definitely think about long distance walking or running shoes. If you have that, maybe you can even skip the blisters. Again, comfortable shoes are a must. Number 3 is training your body every day. Obviously, I like to be active. Obviously, I train. Obviously, I keep my body well prepared. I mean, as much as I can. But in this walk, I noticed that the pain points, the things in my body, the spots in my body that started to hurt the most were the places in my body that are my weak points. I used to go to a physical therapist. I should probably start going again, or I should do the homework, the exercises he has given me. But he told me that I need to really strengthen my hips, and that will help me also strengthen my knees. But as you know, if you've ever been to a physical therapist, it's not as fun as lifting a weight or doing like these fun exercises. They are very slow, very precise exercises, and I never do them. I used to do them very religiously, but then I got bored, as you do, with these very like specific exercises, and that showed on my walk. If I would have trained those specific spots, like on my knees, my back, these very specific points, I think they wouldn't have hurt that much. So again, remember that the things that are the weakest in your body, you know, the muscles that are the weakest or whatever, these are the spots you need to train the most so you can be ready for such a long endurance walk. Only attempt this walk if you can easily walk 20 to 30K steps a day. I had done last year walking the 20,000 steps a day for 30 days challenge, and I really got used to long distances, and I knew that I could participate in this challenge because I had walked so much before and because I still enjoy long walks. Sometimes I can go on a 3 or 4 hour walk and I am fine. Now, if you can't do that, I would really suggest that you do not partake in this challenge until you can walk those 20 to 30K easily. If you again have seen the video, you saw how hard it was in the end. And guys, I keep it together for the camera. I always do. You know, I could be crying 10 minutes after I'm filming this, and then I'll be like, hi guys, how you doing? Because, you know, I want to keep it professional. But I was really dying at the last 10, 20, 30K steps. It was hard. Now that I'm looking back, my mom was probably right. She said, maybe you should train a little bit more before you go on this walk. And, you know, as we kids are to our mothers, we're always like, Mom, it's fine. And it's just my personality, who I was. I was like, I need to do this right now. I don't know why I need to do this. Train and walk before. Walk before. Really, do a test. If you want to know if you can do this, go on a 20,000 step walk. If you can do that, then I would think that, okay, you're ready to conquer the next challenge. It's harder than you think and easier than you think at the same time. You can't imagine the sort of discomfort or pains or whatever you might have, and in that way, it's gonna be harder than you think, but it's easier than you think because you're not actually raising your heart rate. You know, if I would run a marathon, that's a very, very high intensity workout. And because I'm walking, it's not as bad. So it's easily doable if you have a healthy heart, you have a healthy body, but it's also harder than you think because it's not just a walk. It's that interesting middle space where it's like, it's not technically a marathon, but also in distance, it's twice. It's like a double marathon. You know, you're not running, but also you're extremely tired. So just be prepared that it's everything all at once. You might feel excited, happy, very, very sad, cry, also happy again, and that pole of emotions will come at you. And my last general tip is, if you're a woman, I really suggest you do this challenge in your follicular or ovulatory phase. I'm really passionate about living according to your cycle. There's so much science behind that, and we as women, we don't function as men. I have a whole video about living according to your cycle. I love that video, so I'm gonna also link it below. Check it out if that's something you're interested in. But the idea behind this is, at the first part of your month, you have the most strength. You are more prepared to take on challenges and like physical challenges. And then at the second half of the month, which is your luteal and menstrual phase, you need to take it down and take it easy. And I just don't want you as a woman to develop unnecessary injuries or hormonal disruptions, so it's better to do it at that time. That's the reason why I also, when I thought of this challenge, I was like, okay, it's better that I do this week because it's my follicular phase, I'm the strongest, it's the most optimal time for me. And now let's move on to my favorite part of the video, which is my deepest learnings from this challenge. Number one, I needed to do this for myself mentally, and I'm really glad I did. I actually filmed a very short clip that I never put in the original video because you can't put everything in. That would be a 2-hour video, where I discussed how much I need this for myself mentally. I, of course, love physical challenges. I love them, you know, it's part of my personality. I love to know how far my body can go. But aside from the physical challenge, I want to challenge myself here and here, as in my heart, you know, my spiritual side. And I was feeling like, am I still that person? I was questioning, do I still got it? Like, I know it sounds really silly. If you guys watch me, you see that I'm always doing these challenges, but a part of my personality is this determination and the spark. And I was wondering, do I still have this spark? Can I conquer myself? Can I push myself really like to the point where I believe that it's so hard, but I can still do this? I wanted to break something in me and open up. It's the same way with muscles. When you train them, you get little tears. Basically, you break them a little bit and then they grow even stronger. It's the same with your mental, emotional, spiritual side. You need to be like torn down, torn up a little bit so you can grow. So this challenge for me was really that. I spent so much time breathing out, walking around, and being mentally like, universe, break me, open me up, do what you gotta do, but let's do this together. And I'm really happy that I did it, because as you saw at the end of the video, I said multiple times, if I can do this, I can do anything. And I still am holding on to that thought. And I have to tell you guys that ever since I did that challenge, I've been feeling way more confident about anything I'm doing, because I have that thought in my head, if I could do that, I can do anything. And I think sometimes in life, you need to push yourself to that place to give you that confidence that anything is possible and that you have the power to do it. Because that challenge was really just me. I could not affect the weather. As you saw, I got wet and I was cold and then I was hot. I could only affect what I do. And I did it. So it was mentally such an important thing. And if you're at a place where you're feeling a little bit lost, you don't know if you still got it, I promise you this will break you, but then it will put you back together. Number two, we live in very sterile times, and nature is not always that. We don't even know how perfect and sterile our environment is. We have a roof over our heads, we can go in at any time, but when you're outside, and I had to be outside for 20 hours, except for like bathroom breaks and little bites and gas stations, I was faced with how real nature is. And of course we can laugh about it. Again, it's not like real nature, it's city. But Riga actually is very green. There's a lot of woods and a lot of very nature elements. I was completely soaked, my feet were wet, my body was wet, and then I was hot and cold, and I was at the mall where there was a lot of air conditioners. So my body was faced with all sorts of weather changes. All of this showed me how important it is to pump up your immune system. A couple of years ago, it was much stronger. I remember that I could be cold all the time. Sometimes I would get wet, like different circumstances, I would never get sick. And that's the place where I wanna be again at. So for us to live in harmony with nature, we need to work our immune system and be ready that anything can come at us. Coldness, heat, whatever, we have to be ready. So my last big revelation was something that you might not expect, which was, why am I even doing this? The reason I thought about this is because I have been growing so much lately and creating my life, or trying to create my life in the way that I want to, and questioning which things I'm doing for myself and which things I'm doing for others and which things I'm doing to prove myself. And let me be clear, I meant everything I said in this video. I am so extremely proud of myself that when I was at 70 something K, and if you remember, I was telling you like everything hurts and I want to cry and all of that, the question that popped into my head is, where's the limit? Why am I doing this? You know, it's important to have an answer for everything in life. And from one side, I had that, you know, I needed this, I needed to like break myself and put myself together. But because I was in such pain, and I know myself that I would go to whatever lengths just to finish a challenge, I did question myself. I thought, why? Why am I like this? Why am I ready to really put myself through pain in order to prove something? It was kind of like, okay, good. You want to prove something, that's amazing. You know, you want to prove something to yourself, also amazing. But where is the limit? Are there other challenges coming in your future where you might not know that it's too much? So if you are willing to put yourself through situations that could potentially harm you and leave some, I'm not saying super long-term health effects, but for a while you could feel it health-wise, why? And I think I came to an answer where it was something about my perfectionism, tying my value with how much I can do. You know, always climbing, always determined, always the next challenge. And sometimes a challenge is not conquering something on the outside, it's conquering something in you. So that's my, you know, last and biggest, deepest philosophical thought. I could go on about it for a while, but I won't, because this video is long enough already. But I want to thank you guys so much if you watched that video. I want to thank you if you watched this video. I hope you enjoyed my learnings and thoughts about the whole experience. I'm excited that I did it. I really am. As I said, if I could do that, I can do anything, and I really can. Just remember that whatever you want to do in life, you can do it. You really can. If you work hard, you work smart, you rest, and you put a lot of passion and heart into that work. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.